It's time. It's time once again to take a journey. So turn on the lights, pull your chair up, get a little closer to the computer, and get ready, because the journey's about to begin. You turn your radio on, and there it is, a faint station, wafting in and out of the static of the night. A man named Eric, running a show called the Midnight Cafe, calls to you. The conversation seems strange at first, but as you listen, as his voice fades in and out of the static, you realize this is where you were meant to be. This is what you were meant to listen to. We will take a journey that takes us from the normal, well, all the way through to the paranormal and beyond. We'll talk about the knowns and the unknowns and everything in between. And together, perhaps we'll make a little sense out of this crazy world we all live in. Well, this is not good. Oh boy, it's starting, everyone's saying, but it doesn't seem to be wanting to start. Let me know if things are coming through. We've had some serious issues with the new router. I purchased a new router. Anyway, this is Eric, the owner of the Midnight Cafe, and we're live. And I can see a lot of buffering, a lot of issues. So let me know. Okay, you can hear me just fine? All right. Well, we'll go with it then. We'll go with it. Can hear you, but you can't see me. Yeah, I'm going to leave the camera off tonight because I'm telling you, there's some issues. There's some pretty big issues. I had a problem. So I don't know if any of you noticed, but over on the other channel, I usually upload my videos really early in the morning. And I started trying to upload, and it took 2.5 hours to upload a gig. And everything else is working fine, like every other site. If I do a speed test, I've got plenty of bandwidth, so I don't know what's going on. There may be something going on YouTube side of thing, but not great, not great. Hey, Mower Junkie. Hey, Calcius. Hey, Super B. Hey, Scooters55. Hey, Ro. Everybody's in here. That's awesome, man. So I'm going to go with it. You let me know if it starts getting choppy, and maybe we'll pull the plug early. What a bummer to start Episode 5, Season 3, Episode 5 of the Midnight Cafe. Buffering now and then, but I can hear me. Okay, cool. Well, we're gonna go with what we got, I guess. And I've set the bit rate super low, so hopefully it'll work out. And maybe it'll get better as time goes on. 741 joining us, 9mm AR man joining us. Glad that everyone's in here. Isn't it funny how the best laid plans? You know what I mean? Like it just cracks me up. Anyway, we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna pretend that all this is just working fine. I'm gonna minimize this page so I can't see just how bad things are going. And I am going to get onto it. Welcome, my friends, to another great, hopefully great episode of the Midnight Cafe. We've got some really cool stuff to talk about this evening, and I'm going to get right into it, and that is with this picture right here. Let's talk about space. Let's talk about Elon Musk. As you probably remember, about a year or so ago, I think it was maybe 18 months now. Man, wait a minute. Wow. Boy, time flies. It's actually been almost 2.5 years now. But Elon Musk, once upon a time, fired off the very first SpaceX Heavy, the big rocket, the BFG. And, oh, cool. Super B saying he just watched a documentary on the Apollo 11. Yeah, this harkens back to those days for sure. So Elon shot off this monstrous rocket. And of course, when the first time you try something out like that, not a lot of folks are willing to put millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of satellite equipment as a payload. In fact, insurance companies just won't cover it. So oftentimes when we test out new rockets, well, they get left empty. You know, they might just have maybe some scientific payload that's relatively inexpensive. CubeSats come to mind, things like that. Elon couldn't find a taker to ride the payload, so he fired his own Tesla into outer space with little rocket man you see there. Hopefully that's coming up on the screen. He did it, and the best part about this is this thing made it into space and it took off on its trajectory. It was going out to going out to Mars. And the great news is, and let me go ahead and close this picture here. All right. Musk's car has hit Mars. This is obviously an artist's rendition. The actual onboard cameras passed away at some point. They were just run off of the Tesla battery, which I think is kind of cool in itself. If you ask me, that's what they were using, was just an onboard Tesla battery. But I think the batteries lasted something like 48 hours, somewhere roughly about that. The space is a very cold place, as Khan once pointed out. But here he goes. He's out there, and he has made it around Mars. He is going to be making trips like this around our solar system over and over and over again for many thousands of years. They think in about 6,000 years that this car and its driver will either crash into the Earth, or I think it was Venus. I think Venus had something like a 16% chance, and it coming back into Earth was maybe a 6% chance, something insanely low. But yeah, Elon Musk, man, a lot of people don't like him. They think he's wasting his money on frivolous things, and I'm not one of those guys. Obviously, I think I talk about him at least briefly in the news pretty much every episode of the Midnight Cafe these last few years. He's a visionary, and the thing about visionaries is not everyone needs to really like their vision. They just have to let them have it, because he's obviously going places, and he's convinced we're headed to Mars relatively shortly with humans, and I look forward to seeing that. The giant SpaceX rocket, he's still doing testing on it right now. I mean, he's working on it, so very possible that we'll be seeing in my lifetime, which is something I did not think would happen, Elon Musk headed out there into the great beyond. Yeah, he's right up there with Tesla. He is. Rose chiming in with that. He's also saying if Elon died and they cloned him, and that's his original body in the car. It's possible. I mean, I've heard crazier conspiracy theories, but yeah. Super B saying he's been going down the rabbit hole with videos about rocket engine design, the F1, the RS-230, 225, and etc. Rockets are amazing technology that hasn't changed a whole lot, have they? I mean, there's minor adjustments, minor adjusters, but not a whole lot. I mean, there's some stuff on the drawing board. The ion drive, for instance, is completely new, completely great, completely awesome, but it's not usable here inside of Earth orbit, or inside the atmosphere anyway. But that's probably the only real advance that has occurred. We have nuclear fusion or nuclear powered rockets that we can use once we've left Earth's orbit. But the plasma engine, electric plasma, that's another cool one. But yeah, almost no changes. Super Beast chiming in. Yeah, NASA redesigned and simplified the F1 for future use. Exactly. So we're just improving on designs, reusing designs. And I can't remember which company it was, but when the SpaceX prize came out, this, I'm not talking about SpaceX as in Elon Musk company, but there was a prize, and this was back right around the turn of the century, right around 2000, that they were like first independent company to get a rocket into space gets, I think it was 10 million. I mean, it's pretty much, it was just bragging rights considering how much it costs to put rockets into space. Well, there were several companies that, Boeing put forth their designs. They're still working on it. Blue Horizons, which is Jeff Bezos. They were one of the contenders. There were several others, and of course SpaceX won the day. But there was Branson has. I don't even remember the name of that thing, but they've got like the passenger cruise liner that they're going for. But one or two of these companies actually used surplus Russian rockets. It was stuff they had taken out of nuclear weapons, nuclear missiles, and the engines were still stout, so they went for it. So it's amazing that something from the 60s would still be even considered, be the equivalent of throwing a 1958, flathead Ford into a modern car and being like, good enough. It just wouldn't cut it. But in the world of rocketry, advances are happening much slower. So it's interesting that they basically operate on the same principle. So very cool stuff. 741 saying space hardware is old technology for the most part. Reliability is key. And yeah, I agree with that 100%. Hey, how many flights has this thing successfully come off of? Oh, well, we've launched 40 rockets into space using this particular motor. And you're like, yeah, I'll buy that. I would too. May not be the most efficient or the most powerful, but definitely, yeah. Bro Reaver, good to see you in here tonight, my friend. Chiming in that Branson didn't do so well so far. Yeah, they had that major setback. They are the first ones that have civilian casualties while attempting to get into space. And they had a successful test flight. I guess it was the second one And I can't remember, it's been so many years now, what exactly went wrong, but a fairing failure or something along those lines that caused that. But I think they've had another successful test flight since then, but they're slow. Yeah, Virgin Galactic. Rose chiming in with that. Very well, yep. So yeah, always cool to see stuff from Mr. Musk. He's always doing it. Bro Weaver chiming in. Well, when they built the space shuttle, they were planning on a mission every week. Yeah, boy, I think about alternative realities. I think about a reality where we decided not to go with the space shuttle design, and I can't help but wonder where we would be if we had kept with heavy lift rockets like the Saturn V and the Saturn 1. That just sucked the life out of our whole space program. And I'm not saying that as if it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it because it is a thing. I mean, it really did absorb so much money, and then between that and then the International Space Station, which just took years and years and so much effort to complete, it just got to be where we got stagnant. And I mean, I'm not saying stagnant in the sense that we didn't do anything. We certainly put lots of satellites into orbit, lots of scientific missions, lots of cool things that we've done, but we didn't think past that. That low Earth orbit is the ceiling that we have lived in for so long now. I keep hearing that NASA saying, well, we're returning to the moon in 2024, but I mean, I don't know, man. 4 years away, the government is a giant battleship that moves slowly when it makes turns. It's a powerful thing. It's a super powerful thing, and if you get in its way, you're done. But it just takes it so long to make course corrections. And I don't know. I see 2024, and I'm thinking about their heavy lift rocket that they've been working on. And I just wonder if that is even a minute possibility. I'd say 2034 for them. Now, I do believe that independent companies like SpaceX would probably have a shot at that. And but then you got Elon Musk saying that he wants to be on Mars in 2024. So it's just amazing to see. I'm glad. I like to have optimistic people out there, I guess. So that's good for NASA, good for him, good for the whole program, and good for us, because I tell you, I feel like this is something that the world needs. We need to find ourselves into space. Nothing lasts forever, and the idea of colonizing other planets in this solar system doesn't really seem all that interesting to me. Although it's it's breathtakingly impressive. I want to see what lies beyond, and the only way we ever work on building the technology to find out what lies beyond is by perfecting the technology of what lies within. So. I'm not ranting. I'm just waxing poetically, I guess. 741 saying won't make 2024, 2028. Yeah, I'd kind of go with that. I think that's doable. Maybe we'll get a unmanned mission by 2024, but even that I feel like is a stretch. NASA is a lumbering beast. It just doesn't move very well. Bro Weaver saying, I thought it was a shame to let Mir die. It could have been revamped and privatized. Yeah, I remember they got private investors to put about $20 million into a flight to reorbit it, not reorbit, correct the orbit, because it was slowly degenerating. And they went up there and kind of did some work on it just briefly, but that was that. Never followed up. It is a shame. It is a shame. And of course, everything ages, but these are very well maintained things. It would have been nice if you could have taken Mir and put it and put a booster on it and pushed it out into moon orbit. And then had a great launching platform there. Maybe it wouldn't have been perfect, but it would have been pretty cool to have that there waiting for us when we got there in case we had an emergency. What if the lander is damaged and is able to make orbit but not able to return? Well, it could have hung out on Mir and probably had 6 months worth of supplies stacked up there to hopefully hold over until a rescue flight could come. So. Rose got an interesting question, and this is not really on the list to talk about tonight, but I'm all about it, so let's talk about it. And that is Rose asking why they won't let NASA talk about the Black Knight satellite. For those of you who are not familiar with the Black Knight satellite is something that actually the original Tesla, Mr. Tesla, came across. So the very first time that he was messing with radio stuff, not the very first time, but he claimed to have received signals from a satellite orbiting Earth. We didn't have any satellites orbiting Earth back then, and so the mystery was born. And people have spotted this thing with telescopes once or twice. And of course, there are just a few photographs of the Black Knight in existence. I think one that was taken from the space station, and several that were taken from the space shuttle. Um, let's see, Rose saying they had a mission because they made a patch for the mission to the Black Knight. No kidding. Okay. It's up there. It's a satellite. They're estimating it's about 12,000 years old, which if you followed this channel or are into alternate realities or alternate forms of history, that's about the time the last ice age hit, and that's probably about the last time that we had a civilization that was advanced enough to put a satellite into orbit. The interesting thing about this satellite is that it's a polar orbit satellite. So most of ours are geosynchronous around the equator. This one is the opposite. It's geosynchronous, but it's around the poles. It goes the opposite direction there, up and down instead of left to right. And so interesting, if you think about a pulse switch, I'm talking about the type like in 2012 where the entire Earth flipped, which is certainly a possibility, but highly unlikely. That there's a lot of theories on the Black Knight. If you haven't looked into it, it's kind of an interesting thing. And there's several photos of it that are pretty cool looking. Pretty cool looking. You would think that somebody would have gone up there and knocked on the door, or maybe pulled it into a bay and taken a look at it. But it very well could have defense mechanisms. Very interesting stuff. Bro Weaver's asking, "Are you sure it's not the famed Planet X?" No. This is something small. This is a satellite-sized object, maybe slightly larger than a satellite, but it's not a rock, or at least not looks like anything I've ever seen from the pictures that have shown up of it. Planet X, on the other hand, that has been proven to exist. They just can't find it. Like, they can find it mathematically. They can find it by the displacement of gravity in our solar system. They can find it by using math, honestly. But they can't locate it with the naked eye. They can't see it. And that's an interesting thing. They're still working on trying to locate it. The newest, and this is an interesting theory, the newest theory I heard on it is that, they're able to verify, yeah, it exists. It's out there. It's on a strange orbit. It's not on the same plane as the rest of the planets. So it's kind of off kilter, and that's how they were able to say, okay, we have an object that comes around and it pulls planets out of where they should be following gravitational computations. Well, somebody just recently said the reason we can't see it is that it's not actually a planet. It's a micro black hole in our solar system. It might only be the size of a single atom. We don't know. But that would have the kind of power to pull planets out of alignment. And so a very interesting theory on that one. But yeah, Planet X. Well, I'll probably do a whole show on that one. Nibiru, Planet X. There's a lot of historical, and I'm talking like ancient history, prehistory, stories of Planet X that kind of ring it to mind. So pretty cool. I'm glad to have you all in here tonight. I'm going to take a quick look and just see where the stats are, see if things have leveled out. I've been afraid to look. 23 viewers, that's good. 10 likes. I appreciate you hitting the like button. And yeah, it seems like the things are sort of working, so I'm going to go with that. And we'll hope that it stays that way. All right, so what Bro Weaver's asking, would the Black Knight be related to these UFOs that fighter jets have seen? Entirely possible. Let's just go this route. Let's just do it. Hold on. So, Bro Weaver, what you're talking about is, and this is a relatively amazing, absolutely amazing thing that has happened this year in our country. We're so preoccupied with disaster, the global catastrophe. We here in America are so preoccupied with political news, which has just absolutely gone absurd. But we're so preoccupied with that, we failed to realize that the United States Air Force literally admitted that there are extra off-world vehicles, extraterrestrial vehicular vehicles. We don't know who's piloting them. We don't know where they come from, but we know they're not from this Earth, and they're capable of doing things that no known object could possibly do. Gravitational-wise, they're able to make sudden turns, accelerate at high velocities and different angles. They're obviously using technology that far, far, far exceeds our own. And the question becomes this: are these from outer space, or are they from inner space? Or are they just from another dimension of space? The questions there go on and on and on. Where are these things coming from? The videos, if you haven't seen them, that they've declassified are incredible. Small orbs flying at a high rate of speed, so fast and so different than military craft that we have, that our jets, our finest jets, have a hard time locking onto it. And of course, I'm sure they've maybe made the the attempt to lock and ask for permission to fire. But there's no way that the government's going to allow you to fire on an unknown craft that's not violating anybody's space. And even if it is, I don't think it's a good idea to start an interstellar war just out of guess. So, but let's talk about it. Is that Planet X? Is that Black Knight satellite? Is that something that exists from a previous civilization here on our own Earth? Is it something that exists from a previous civilization that's still on our Earth? Or is it something that exists on a civilization off-world and that they have here to monitor us? Or is it something from a parallel dimension that has been placed here by a parallel universe that's able to travel through the parallel time? What we've ever seen, there was a show on Fox years and years ago called Sliders that talked about, the ability to slide between realities. And these boys and girls were doing this accidentally. They had a machine that kind of threw them off kilter. They were just spending their whole time coming home. But think of the D wave. Think of the ability to quantum compute to exist in more than one state at a time. And physics has basically proved that we're in a multiverse. There's more dimensions than we can possibly imagine. And that pretty much every choice that is ever there to make has been made in some alternate reality. I find that to be a fascinating thing, and it also brings some warmth to my heart because I think about the people that I've loved and that I've lost, and I think that in another alternate universe, in another parallel Earth, the decisions that they made were different, and in those worlds they're still alive. I think in the universe that we follow ourselves through, our own personal universe, our own world, we make all the right calls and we make it all the way to the end. And isn't that an interesting thought, huh? Bro Weaver saying, well, I feel the government knows more than we think. Area 51 might have some clues. Most definitely. I think Area 51 holds both our technology and others' technology, and probably holds other races, other civilizations, other people. I feel very confident that at some point or another in the United States history, we have encountered and had conversations with some of these off-world vehicle drivers. That they have not declassified, and the reason why is probably very frightening if you think about it. These are a race of beings far superior to us in every way, and it may be that they'll pretty much lay down the law and say, you're not going to. You're going to do this, you're going to do that, or we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And knowing that you hold no cards in a poker game, not a bad set of cards, but no cards at all, you'd probably realize that the governments of the world have no choice but to follow the rules of whatever entity it is that's out there. Bro, we were chiming in with, if the government is showing images of UFOs, then believe me, they know much, much more than we do. Like the declassified nuclear films, so much more has been learned. Exactly. They're like a parent protecting us from ourselves, and for better or for worse. There's entirely possible that it's not really for our own health. It may not be for the good of us, but it may just be to keep us here on Earth. I mean, who knows what the threats may have been of a race of beings so far superior to our own. Very interesting stuff to think about. Jamaica Dog saying, our laws of physics only apply to things from this dimension. Their laws of physics will apply to them. Maybe that is why they can do the things they do. I agree with that 100%. I think you're right on the money with that. I think, if we're talking about a being that has lived on this earth since before the last ice age, an advanced species that was here before us, well, then we're talking about someone that just is technologically so far superior to us that their technology would appear as radical and crazy to us as, going back to the 1700s with modern equipment that we have now. Imagine the Revolutionary War with modern warfare that we have. And that's just, several hundred years. Now think what 10,000, 12,000 years might do. The technology is just so far beyond us, it might as well appear to be alien, even if it's not. And if you're talking about creatures from another dimension, where perhaps Earthlings didn't evolve into the dominant force here on this planet, or something like us evolved into the dominant force on the planet, and these creatures are able to switch from dimension to dimension. And for what reason, I don't know. Perhaps just to observe. Perhaps they're historians, or perhaps they're just explorers of their own, or perhaps it's far more nefarious. We'll we'll probably never know that answer. If we do, it'll be when we reach the other side of whatever lies in this world. Robert Clark, good to see you in here. I don't think I've had you as a guest before, but Robert, it's good to have you on board. Have you seen the new In Search Of? I have not yet. No, I have not. I didn't know they had made a remake of that. The old one had Leonard Nimoy, Mr. Spock, and there's a lot of the old episodes of that available for free on YouTube, and I've certainly watched plenty of those. I always found that show to be great. There's another one, speaking of Star Trek characters, Riker. I can't remember the guy's name right now, but first, the number one, Mr. Riker there on Star Trek The Next Generation did, what was it, Truth or Fiction? Oh gosh, what was the name of that show? Fact or Fiction. And some great stories, some related to ghosts, some related to aliens, Bigfoot, you name it. And some of it was just great storytelling that wasn't true, but other ones, where you'd be like, there's no way that really happened. And they'd come back and say, yeah. Oh, Beyond Belief, maybe, was it? Gosh, now I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, if any of y'all see it, you can. Oh, Jonathan Franks. Yes, thank you, man. If anyone remembers the name of that show, be sure to chime in there in the chat box. I'm sure people will appreciate that. Let's see here. Stephen Greer makes some really good YouTube videos. I'll check it out. Dr. Stephen Greer. Okay. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, I've listened to him before. Yeah, he's awesome, dude. Yeah. Micro Roots commenting about things we shouldn't say, but he said he saw our UFO. Right on, dude. I've got my own experience there. I'll share with you all sometime. It's interesting. I didn't see a UFO. I think I actually might have met an alien once, but and I swear I wasn't drinking. Roll says, how do some people truly seem to have knowledge of the past? That's true, and there have been times where I have felt like maybe this ain't the first time around for me, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think maybe it's possible that we come back over and over again until we get it right. Does that make sense to you? And I know there are various religions that feel that way. I think Buddhists believe you kind of evolve. You start off as a butterfly, and then maybe you come back as a cat, and then maybe you're an elephant, and then maybe you're a human. But I wonder if it's not that dissimilar from that. Really, kind of interesting. Bro Weaver, it's hard to tell what is real and what is fake. Humans like to mimic space aliens, like human-made crop circles, alien mock-ups. Human interfacing is not interference is not helping. That is true. That is true. Actually, it's really interesting. Speaking of that, they're like fake. So let me take a sip of water here, guys. This does bother me. For some of the research I did for tonight's show, and just research I do on my own anyway, I'm looking for ghost photographs, and there's so many fakes, and some of them are fakes in comic jest, meant to be fakes, and clearly are fakes, but others, people go and spend an awful lot of time attempting to fake something, and I don't understand that. Like, why would you do that? It's already hard enough to find credence and to be convinced that something is real, and to find people who would be willing to look at it as a scientific possibility. And then when you throw so many fakes into this, it becomes so hard to differentiate. And as we move into the future, this new technology called deep fakes is going to be an even bigger problem. I've seen some very impressive deep fakes in the last couple months, thankfully used for comic relief or good. Nothing bad yet. I've watched just recently an Indiana Jones deep fake where they replaced Harrison Ford with what's the guy from oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't remember this guy's name. The guy with the mustache that was on Magnum PI. He was apparently their first choice for Indiana Jones, and so they put his face on Indiana Jones's body, and they did a couple clips. And it is tough to tell. Tom Selleck, thank you, Super B. Boy, I'm having multiple brain issues tonight, aren't I? So yeah, that's Tom Selleck, and it's just incredible. A really good job of doing it. And so in those cases, it could almost be a good thing. Imagine being able to have new episodes of the original Star Trek series with all the original cast. Being able to use deep fakes for something like that, I think would be a positive. Or just for the comic relief of it. But there's so many dangerous things too. So many dangerous things. Placing people at crimes, showing people doing bad things or saying bad things. That is a frightening part of that. So I agree with you, Bro Weaver, on that. Jonathan Frank's Fact or Fiction on Fox was actually a fun show. He's chiming in. Yeah, it really was, you know. And for a while, Amazon had that. We had Amazon Prime for a year, and there were a couple seasons of it on there, so we watched those, and it was good fun. It's a good, clean show to watch. You could have your kids watch that. There's nothing dirty about it, and no swearing, anything like that. So I like shows like that on the air. Jamaica Dog saying Michael Root. I'm not going to say the rest of that, but sure. Tracy L. Hinton, good to see you in here, my friend. It's been a while. How are they? They are here among us, no doubt. I do believe that. I believe they're here. I believe they're actually in control. I think I've mentioned this before on the show, but you can go back if you want to go back, if you could find the clip. Go back to when Bill Clinton left office and George Bush Jr. or George W. Took office, and Bush came in and sat down with Clinton. They always have that meeting, you know, the old outgoing president, the incoming president sit down and have a talk privately, and then they come out and meet the press. And if you look on George Bush's face, he's a man with a lot on his mind suddenly. I mean, you know, these should be happy days. This was not a happy day. Now fast forward 8 years and take a look at the video of outgoing President Obama and incoming President Trump, and same thing. Took him on the private tour, had a private conversation, and take a look at the video, if you can find it, of the two of them sitting there. I don't know if it was in the Oval Office, but it's certainly in the White House. And tell me how many times you've seen Donald Trump look like that. He is unfocused. He is hunched over. He's got his elbows on his knees. He's got his legs parted, and he is thinking about a lot of stuff. He is not thinking about the people in front of him. And for a showman like Mr. Trump, that is even more telling than it was when I saw President Bush do the same thing. So I believe that conversation between presidents when that day happens probably involves some pretty heavy stuff. And it's not, oh no, be afraid of the Russians. It's not that at all. It's probably something far more frightening. Oh no, be afraid of them. Yeah. So there we go. Michael Root saying, brother told me he swears he saw a UFO. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of folks that have. My sister lives in the high plains of Colorado, and she's often taking photographs of unusual things. Not planes, but it's usually at night, so it's a little hard to make it out in a picture. But obviously in person, when the rest of your senses are there, it's easier to see those things and feel those things. So there you go, you know. Ro, why do so many countries acknowledge UFOs and ours won't? And that's it. Well, I mean, Ro, they have, you know, they did this year. It's just that no one's listening. We have, you know, our propaganda, our media, you know, they have their own agenda of what they want to tell us is important. And even though the government did come out and acknowledge that we do have off-world crafts operating in our atmosphere, they just didn't choose to focus on it. And unfortunately, we live in a society where if you don't do your own research, it didn't happen. You know, if ABC, CBS, and NBC don't spend more than 5 minutes on it, it never happened. So, something to think about there. Patrick, nice to see you. Patrick, good to have you, man. I don't recall having you in here either, but I'm glad to have you on the show. This is the Midnight Cafe, for those of you joining us late. It is kind of like Coast to Coast, kind of like Art Bell. If Art Bell had no talent and no money, well, then that'd be me. The Midnight Cafe has been on the air for 21 years. Kind of crazy, isn't it? 21 years. And, you know, we were on the radio, we were on pirate radio, then we were on regular radio, then we were overseas on the radio, and then we came back and we're off the air for a year or two, came back as YouTube, and now we're back on the radio too. So we're everywhere, man. It's crazy. Bro Weaver, I saw that message, and yeah, I mean, you know, everyone's got their opinion. This is not really a political show, but you're definitely entitled to that. He was not my, you know, first pick in the world either, but it is what it is. Patrick's saying he saw a UFO in New Mexico back in the 80s. Right on. I'd love to hear more about it. In fact, I could open up the lines later on. I'll see. Last couple times I've opened up the lines, we've had some issues, and I'm worried with the bandwidth we have going on tonight that those issues might continue. So I think I'm just going to run the show like this. And we're already a half hour in. Right on. All right. Well, let me get rid of this picture here, and I'm going to bring up some more stuff. Let's talk about just whatever. Let's talk about UFOs. Let's do it. Let's go. We'll do that for another half hour, and then I want to move on to ghosts. That's the main topic for tonight. Probably be at about an hour and 45-minute show tonight. I'm going to take a break here in about 10 more minutes, play a song, and of course we'll come back. And like I said, I wish that we were doing well enough that I could feel comfortable reopening the lines, but I just don't know if I should do that. So I'm going to leave them closed for tonight. I think we'll just have to do the meetings. But for those of you joining, I do have one piece of good news before we go back to the main topic. This is an interesting piece. I know there's not a lot of fans that listen to it here because mostly it's from the old days, the old listeners. But WFPF Radio, the Voice of the Mountains, is a shoutcast stream that I play, and a lot of people have been having difficulty with it, and I've had difficulty with it. It's very old technology. I tried to up my bandwidth here at the house so that more people could listen to it, but still people are trying. I get 30 or 40 people logged in at one time, and it just stutters and sputters. It doesn't play right. Today, for the very first day ever, I have started the WFPF Radio YouTube channel, and all it's going to be, there's never going to be anything live on there. It's just a very low bitrate stream, live stream of the Shoutcast stream. So if you want to listen to old episodes of the Midnight Cafe, random conversations I had back in the 90s sometimes, and occasional stuff that you just never heard anywhere else, turn it on. And of course, it's like everything else. It's got a few bugs in it right now. Apparently, the Shoutcast stream is mono, and YouTube doesn't offer a mono feed, so sometimes the music's not playing, so you might click on there and it'll say it's live, and you'll just hear blank air for a little while. I'm gonna see what I can do. I might try to change the bandwidth around so that I can get the full stuff playing. So I'll get it going. But if you want to go over, it's WFPF Radio, the Voice of the Mountains. There's a YouTube channel there. Please feel free to subscribe. It'll, we want to listen to it in the car ride home or something like that, you're welcome to do so. I guess that's it for my plug for that, but I'm not making any money off of that. That's not monetized, so that's just for fun, guys. Bro Weaver saying, whatever happened to Art Bell? What really happened? Seemed mysterious. There was no investigation with drugs involved. Two versions of that story, my friend, and I've faced this battle personally twice in the last 2 years, so I have a feeling I know what happened, but they're calling it an accidental overdose, and that's likely to be the case. That's likely to be what really happened. Art had some injuries like we all get when we get older, and some of us choose to take painkillers in order to deal with those injuries. I refuse to take painkillers, even though I'm constantly in pain. I mean, let's be honest, part of getting old means all the stupid things we did catch up with us, and mine certainly have. But Art decided to take medicine like that, and I don't blame him. I'm not criticizing him or considering him a weak man or anything like that. That is totally not what I'm at here. But he did, and unfortunately the way narcotics work is you take painkillers, and eventually your body becomes immune to the painkillers, so you have to take more and more and more. And even though it doesn't work for its intended purpose, it doesn't actually kill the pain anymore, you're still putting a large amount of a heavy drug into your system, and it can kill you. It can stop your heart, slow your heart rate down, put you in a coma, that kind of stuff. So apparently, unfortunately, that is exactly what happened with Mr. Bell. Now, there is a conversation that there was a note, and I know that Heather Wade, who runs the Kingdom of Nye, she used to be Midnight in the Desert as well. And Heather, I know Heather. I haven't talked to her in years, but I know her from years and years and years ago. She indicated at least once on the air that it was a suicide, that it wasn't an accidental. I don't believe he would do that, although we never really know a man and the inside. No one ever really knows anyone, do they? We don't know the pain somebody's going on the inside or what other things are going on. He lost Ramona, his first wife, and his son had a terrible incident happen to him, and he was remarried and doing well. He had a young child or younger child at the point that he passed away, but who knew what was going on in his private life? Obviously, his attempts to bring back his show several times had failed, and he had pretty much given up on the air. So I hope that Art is in a good place. Whatever happens after this, I hope he went to the right place. My religious beliefs say that if you commit suicide, you're going down, not up. But I know a lot of other religions say that as long as you've asked for forgiveness or that you're close to your creator, then you'll be okay. So I hope he's doing well. And like I said, I've had family that have had the same thing happen to them in the last couple of years. Same thing. It's it's good to be reminded that a doctor may not have your absolute best interests in mind if they're going to try to prescribe you a narcotic. So keep that in mind, folks. If you're thinking about, if you're in pain and aspirin's not cutting it, the alternative to being in pain might be worse. So hang in there, and I feel you literally every day. I'm in pain. 312D Man, Florida. Hello, my friend. I haven't seen you in forever. Good evening. How you doing, my man? Just want to let you know I'm getting stuff up together for Raccoon Radio. Right on, dude. Yeah, Raccoon Radio. That kid's awesome. I don't have any children of my own, and I stumbled upon his radio. He had a pirate radio station that he set up, and me, I'm totally into pirate radio stuff. So I saw that, and I was just thinking, gosh, I got to help this kid out some way, and that was the way I chose to help it. And there's been, I think one other guy that sent some stuff other than me, and if I never see another video from that little man again, that's okay. I didn't do it so he'd become famous. I did it because I wanted him to be able to play with cool stuff, get into that radio stuff. So he got a little bit of everything from me, and the other guy sent him a nice ham radio, a 2-meter, I think, and so I'm hoping some other folks, they've been talking about doing that. So Florida man there, dude, thank you. I'm sure his mom and dad appreciate that, or at least his mom. I'm not sure if she's married, but I talked to her briefly when I set all this stuff up. So yeah, pretty awesome. I hope he goes far in the world of radio. Let's leave it at that. Kevin, good to see you. I don't know that I've talked with you before. Some of the folks, I can't remember names as well as others, but Kevin, good to have you in the show. He's saying he saw something unexplainable several years ago in the sky near his house. I also have incredible paranormal experiences which involve physical contact. My friend, I would love to have you as a guest on the show another night to talk about those experiences. If you'd be interested in that, please shoot me an email. That'd be awesome. Bro Weaver, thanks for that. I was just wondering how Coast to Coast is still around with George Norrie, or Snorri, yeah. Bro's talking back about, Art Bell. So Coast to Coast is, here's the thing. I'm going to listen to it until the very end, and I listen to all the shows. I have a subscription to Heather. She doesn't come on every night, but she does. Midnight in the Desert, however, like self-destructed. He sold it to a company, and for like a month they put on a bunch of guest hosts. They tried to get Heather back on, and it fell through, and that was that. Like, it's been dead since July, so I guess they're out of it. And there's a bunch of other ones. And here's the thing, like if you want to listen to paranormal radio, you're listening to it right now. And I think that's the problem with Coast to Coast is that there's, when Coast to Coast got started, it was it. That was it. That was it. You stayed up, you listened to it. It was it. If you want to learn about things that weren't of the norm, Coast to Coast was it. But as the years have gone on, think about podcasts and video shows like this, or, the Midnight Cafe is now a podcast as well. I'm on Google and, Spotify and all those. So, it's everywhere, and so is everyone else's. There's lots of shows that cover very specific topics. Some might only be into ghosts, and some might only be into UFO stuff. But the fact that there's so much of it out there, it's like a good thing, but it's also a bad thing for Coast to Coast. George Norrie, he's getting on in age, and I think he's kind of coasting. I think maybe instead of George Snorri, it should be George Coasty. I don't know, man, but I still enjoy the show. It does sometimes feel a little bit like an infomercial at times, but there's still a lot of cool information that comes out. I think of Coast to Coast now as a way to get people interested. And once they get interested, we have this beautiful World Wide Web with all these little nooks and crannies like my own that people can stumble across and get involved in and find out that, hey, this is pretty cool. I got to dig deeper, and digging deep really goes down the rabbit hole, doesn't it? Florida man says he takes pain meds, but you do have to talk to your doctor, and I keep my stuff in check. I don't want to have to take more, but it all depends on the person. Yeah, man. All I can say, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not criticizing anybody for taking pain meds, but I am telling you, it's a big warning, man. Be careful. I'm miserable. I am miserable right now. I ripped a muscle in my back and I dislocated my lower back, and now I'm having some other issues as a result of that. Because once you start nursing one pain, you end up hurting yourself. And so I feel you, man. And I think about doing that. I quit drinking in 2013. And I miss it because that was how I medicated. I didn't take pain meds, but I self-medicated. Anytime I was in pain, I just, bourbon was the cure. So I miss that as well, and it does make me think about it when I'm in significant pain like that. So I feel for you, brother. 9mm AR man is saying, unless it's an absolute last resort, avoid opiate medications. They are sometimes necessary, but at one point they were insanely overprescribed, causing the current addiction epidemic. Well said, my friend. Well said. I think you hit it right on the head. It's like, I know that there were times 10 years ago when I actually was in a hospital, and they gave me a drip of morphine and said, just push the button, you'll get morphine. And I said, I'm not touching that stuff, man. From the Army, I know how quickly people get addicted to morphine, and I was like, not doing it, dude. So they said, oh, you're going to need it. You're going to need it. And all I wanted was an aspirin, and they would not give me an aspirin, and I never touched the morphine. So I just had to sit there in bed in excruciating pain because I wasn't going to take the drugs. So, yeah, I think it's a big issue. I would have been fine with the aspirin. Kevin saying you would love to be a guest. All right, my man. So check it out, Kevin. I'm going to type my email address in here. Boop. There you go, buddy. You go ahead and shoot me an email, and I will set up a time to do it. Because guess what? This is some good news. I'm going to be doing these every week for the rest of October. Yay! It's Halloween month, right? Let's do it. So maybe I'll get you on next week, and we'll hopefully have better bandwidth. But we'll either use Zoom or Skype, whichever one works better for you, my friend. And you don't have to put your face on there if you don't want to. But we'll just have a nice conversation. I always love having guests on. I know Super B is really good at calling in and stuff. And unfortunately, the last two times he called, we couldn't get his volume up enough. But we're going to try Zoom next time, Super B, even though it's, hacked or something. But, 9mm AR man, it's good that he's commenting. It's good to keep the stuff in check. Patrick saying, I also saw a Polaroid picture from '68 before computer stuff. It was a UFO over the mountains. Yeah, and so like a Polaroid, I'm sure, I suppose if you really, really, really had time and effort put into it, you could fake one, but very difficult. And why? Why would you bother? So I think a Polaroid picture of a UFO is probably one of the more convincing things you're going to see out there. That's really cool, man. I'm glad to hear that. Florida man saying, yeah, sorry, brother. I've just been dealing with life. Mom's passed away. Oh, gosh, man. I'm sorry, man. I have to watch replays and stuff, but coming together. Tell the wife hello. 73s, man. Thank you, brother. Take care. I almost got my wife to be a part of the show tonight, but she just apparently did not show up. So she, maybe someday, I've tried. She used to do the show with us. She used to do it. She used to be pretty much a regular, but that was years and years and years ago. Dallas, good to see you, man. I've been wondering where you're at. Hey, man, work chasing your tail. Got it, man. Tracy Hinton says, may I ask you a question about your pain? Sure, man. Go ahead, Tracy. Super Bass chiming in is awesome. Yeah, I don't want to make the show about me. This is not really that. Oh, does she have an English accent? No. She's a Jersey girl, but she doesn't really have any accent that I can think of. My sleeping habits are okay. I get up about 3:30. I go to bed early, though. My wife works early hours or overnight sometimes, so my schedule's kind of screwy. But I don't, I get a good 6-7 hours of sleep, so I'd say it's pretty fair. Obviously, when an injury just happens or whatever, that's different. Every time you roll over, you're up. But for the most part, I'm trying. Alex King, good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. All right, dudes and dudettes, let's move on, man. Let's move on. So we talked about UFOs. Somehow we got sidetracked onto opioids. Oh, it was the Art Bell question. Let's move on to tonight's main topic. All right, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do first. I'm going to play a song, if that's all right with you. Play a song here, and when we come back, we will going to be talking about ghosts. What are ghosts? Where do they come from? What are they? How are they? What are they here for? We're going to go through all that. So stick around. It should be about, a couple minutes. right. I'm not going to go that long on that one, just long enough to use the men's room. So anyway, we're back. It's the Midnight Cafe, Season 3 on YouTube, Episode 5. Tonight's main topic, ghosts. What are ghosts? Where are they coming from? And what do they want with us? I look forward to listening to the comments in the chat section because I want to know what your thoughts are. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a picture. There we go. And obviously this one is a fake. And it's interesting, we were talking before the break about fake pictures, right? And how it makes it so difficult to find real photos of UFOs, of ghosts, Bigfoot. It really does throw us off, doesn't it? And of course, this one here is completely a artist's rendition, though. I don't believe the stairway is real or the walls. It's a beautiful painting, is what it looks like, but it's cool. So I don't have a problem with things like this because this is made to show us the image of a ghost, not the real ghosts. But it does bother me when people do make very elaborate forgeries because it definitely makes it harder to determine if ghosts are in fact real, and if they are real, what are they? So the thing I want to talk about is this. Where are they coming from? What is a ghost? There are several theories involved in this. There's several trains of thought. The first one being this. What we are seeing is some kind of a mental imprint. Something that happened at some point in history has left an imprint. Take a look at this picture if you can see it here for those listening on the radio. It's a picture of a ghost, a lady climbing the stairs, surrounded on all sides by marble and big pillars, right? In this first theory, they theorize that there are certain rocks, granite or crystal, we don't know, or certain materials, could be wood for all we know, or the ground beneath, just dirt, just earth, that soaks up the impulse, the brain waves, the entire experience, that somehow holds that moment in time, and then randomly hits the replay button. So that on this first layer of ghost sightings that we see, it appears to be somebody going through the motions. We see what almost looks like a pre-recorded message being played over and over again in the world. And some people have seen these. In fact, I would say this is probably the most common ghost sighting. It's not of an interactive ghost. It's not one that waves to you and gives you the thumbs up. It's a ghost that just walks down the hallway, or walks up the staircase, or walks through the halls. It's just very interesting to know that this just happens. And I can tell you myself, I've seen a ghost. I've seen a ghost in my last house. It was a house from the 1860s. And it wasn't what we consider to be ghosts. If we're going to break it down even farther, it was called the Men in Black. Like it was a black object with a hat on that just passed right through one wall, right across the hallway, and right through the other. Saw it once and only once. Never had any other experience in the house. And thought, wow. What the heck was that? But that is how it works. Was that just an imprint, just a replay? Or was that something else? What are we looking at? So I'm going to look into the comments section, and I hope that I can see some cool comments on your thoughts on this first layer of ghosts, as that's what we're looking at. And Calcius is saying he recorded himself playing the guitar, and when he played the video back, you could hear someone say something. I got freaked out because I live alone. I sleep with the lights on now. I don't blame you, brother. So what you experienced, Calcius, is called an EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. Very real, probably one of the easiest ways to verify that something is not exactly as we believe it to be in this world. I myself have spent a lot of time recording and listening back to empty rooms, and I have heard many, many voices, and hopefully they weren't just in my head. No, I've seriously heard voices, and some of them can be downright scary. It's not uncommon for folks to take a recorder, a digital recorder. Back in the day, it was a tape recorder, but now we can just do it with our cell phone. Go to a cemetery, walk around, record it. Don't say a word, or maybe ask questions. You might be surprised when you listen back to the things you hear. Now, sure, there's times when you can listen to 8 hours of static and nothing but static, but there are more often than not, in a solid hour, you might hear 2 or 3 times that a voice comes out of that distance, comes out of the darkness and says something. Pretty wild stuff, my friends. Super B saying, Calcius, it was the ghost of Eddie Van Halen criticizing you. Oh. You never know. Rose saying red rum, or spiced rum as they call it nowadays. Yes, indeed, the spiced rum. Back in the day. Florida man saying, yeah, I live close to the Gulf Breeze, Florida, and it's known about UFO and things like that, I'll try to get something together and send them to you, and you can do a show on here. Right on, dude. Yeah. And look, and I've said this several times. You are welcome to be a part of my show. If you would like to be a full-time guest host, Rockin' Woody has moved on to other stuff, so I would love to have somebody come on and spend an hour and a half with me, or even 30 minutes, and I know that we've taken calls before tonight. Obviously, the lines are down just because I want to make sure that we have a good show without any more dropouts, but I'm glad to have you all in here. I love having people on. I had a guy set up for next weekend, and unfortunately he has canceled, but it's a guy that I worked with years ago who has a ghost hunting. He has a club, a group, and they go out and ghost hunt. And some of the stuff that he's captured, he says, is pretty impressive stuff. And so I wanted to talk with him about his experiences. So hopefully we'll be able to reschedule. But being Halloween, he's probably got a pretty busy schedule, and I'm sure maybe in November might be able to get him on. That'd be awesome. Rose saying all the TV shows, are fake. Yeah, sensationalism. We got to sell. If I showed you an hour of footage that was just an empty room, after a couple of hours of showing you that empty room, you'd be very tired of it. You would lose interest. So yeah, I do believe they kind of hype up stuff, and then some of that is sound effects, not sound effects, but like musical sound effects. Build that suspenseful music, and then the letdown is that nothing really happens, or maybe just a speck of dust flies by the screen. So I would like to say this: if there's going to be a positive to anything, and I always try to think of the positives in life, those ghosts hunter shows really, really, really brought ghost hunting to the masses. Think back to whenever year that was. Was it 2002, 2003? How many ghost hunting clubs popped up all over the country? And of course, many of them have faded away, but there's still quite a few of them out there, and they have more recognition now. I mean, people are more likely to be like, yeah, sure, you can come in and check out this place. You're not casing the joint to steal from me. So I'm happy that they are out there because they raise awareness that such things exist and that such possibilities exist. It's like coast to coast on TV. It's cool. I like that. Kevin is saying that limestone is a huge conductor of paranormal energy. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, I was thinking there was some particular rock that they've talked about being able to soak in that energy, that electrical energy that comes from our minds. So, Rose saying he's been to places that gave me the heebie-jeebies. Most definitely, I've been places where I've got the cold chill and just been like, this is freaking me out. For me, however, a lot of times it's in the woods, man. Like I'll get out into the woods and I'll get out to the middle of nowhere, just myself and me, and man, like you just feel it. You just know that something's watching you, and for all you know, it's a squirrel, but it doesn't feel like a squirrel. It feels that predator feeling, and then all of a sudden I feel like the prey. So yeah, I definitely know that heebie-jeebies feeling for sure. Robert Clark says EVPs could be someone with a linear. You're correct, right? So obviously, radio waves, everything's blowing through the air. I mean, it's all there. And on every frequency now. I mean, geez, the air is just filled with energy with all the transmissions and receptions and all that stuff going on. So it's entirely possible that EVPs are someday conclusively proved to be nothing but random tidbits of voices being picked up off of the airwaves, off of terrestrial communication, or out of this world communication. But it's also entirely possible that what we are seeing is some manifestation of a paranormal event, that somehow they're able to break through the celestial plane and poke a small enough hole to say a few words or answer a question. Very interesting stuff, no doubt. Rose says if I'm driving down the street and I get a feeling to turn around or go somewhere else first, I do it. Yeah, it's always good to trust your gut instinct. The whole phrase gut instinct sounds like, oh, well, just trusting my gut. No, man, we do have senses that we mostly ignore now. So if you feel it, follow it. Ziga, good to see you in, man. I hadn't seen you in a while, buddy. Ghosts are just a part of your imagination. They aren't real, but it feels like we sometimes are more scared of things that are mysterious than reality. I don't know if I believe they're all my imagination, my friend, but I do agree with you on that second part. It is sometimes better to be scared of the boogeyman than it is to be scared of the real man, because there is nothing more frightening and more dangerous than real people. I agree with you on that, my friend. Rose saying the shows never really show anything, and where is Bigfoot? Yeah, well, Ro, I actually have seen a Bigfoot-like creature, not 7 foot tall and 400 pounds, but I saw a two-legged, like on 2 feet creature come through the woods when I was young, and I'll probably go over it again this Halloween. I've got a great Halloween video I'm going to be uploading to Farpoint Farms, by the way. True story. So I haven't done a Halloween story on Farpoint since the first year I really started doing videos. So I hope you guys enjoy it when it comes out. Tracy's saying, as I listen to you talk when they show it, I thoroughly enjoy listening, and everything I've heard you say sounds very similar to what I've experienced. Is a spiritual awakening. Thank you, brother. Tracy's saying, I need to is contributing to your pain subconsciously. That's why you wake up through. Huh. I'm not sure I understand that last part, Tracy. Something about the reason I wake up at 3:30 in the morning is a dead clue. That's interesting. Try that one again. I couldn't understand that, my friend. Mower Junkie. Years ago, I took a picture of my car, and in the windshield, I saw two reflections. One of me and one of another guy, but I was alone when I took the picture. Yeah, Mower Junkie, I don't think you were you? That's a very common thing, especially if there's young children around. A lot of times you get family photos, and you might see some extra family in the photos. I have no doubt that that's either maybe some previous owner of that car, or perhaps somebody from your family who was looking out from you from beyond. I have a picture of my father when he was a child with my grandfather, my grandmother, and two other kids, and they're all standing around the house. And the picture, it's got so many faces. There's like wisps of clouds all the way around all these people, and it's all faces, smiling faces, and you just know here they are bringing home this newborn, and the other kids are all standing there, and they're all on the front porch, and obviously the rest of the relatives had come to pay respects. They were there. I feel that has to be the case on that every time I look at that picture, and I'll share that picture with y'all some night. I will. Kelsey is saying, when I worked at a large park doing maintenance, it had an old fort, and many people died there. I worked alone a lot and got those feelings. Yeah, man, definitely. So I don't talk about this very often, but when I first got out of the Army, I was going through a rough patch, let's say, and I decided that I wanted to get away from people, and what better place to get away from people than at a cemetery. So I went and got a job as the groundskeeper, head groundskeeper at a cemetery, the largest cemetery in North Carolina, in fact. And I was the head groundskeeper. I had about 4 or 5 guys that I worked with, and we took care of over 70 acres of cemetery. And there were a lot of times that that I was alone, but felt like I wasn't. I never saw anything, but I certainly had a lot of feelings. And it's a strange place. It's like a very relaxing place to hang out at a cemetery all day, because people just kind of avoid it. They come for the funeral, and they might come once or twice a year to pay respects, but for the most part, a cemetery is a place of rest. And so I found myself there. I spent the better part of a year working there, and kind of found myself again. But I've always felt like the mausoleums, the big indoor mausoleums, were the places that I always felt that creepy feeling. Just walking the fields, walking the grounds, and doing that kind of stuff wasn't so bad. But being inside the mausoleum, there was definitely a feeling in there that certainly was a bit spooky, no doubt. Rose saying, now I've seen what I thought was a chupacabra, and it was freaky. Yeah, man, chupacabra. I've seen a couple of those things are pretty spooky. Yeah, I've seen a couple pictures of those hairless, very fangy looking monsters, and I don't want to have a run-in with one of those things out in the desert, that's for sure. Oh, Dallas is chiming in and asking everybody to hit the old like button. I appreciate that, my friend. I appreciate that. Let me go ahead and check to see what the stats are here. Uh-oh. There we go. Hey, look at that. 22 people listening right now. And 22 likes. I appreciate that, guys. I appreciate that. I don't know how long we've been coming and going, if people have been coming and going, but I do appreciate everyone coming in tonight and enjoying it. I actually gave a whole day's worth of notice. Wow. It's about as far as I can plan ahead these days. Let's see. Florida man saying, I believe we have ghosts all around us. And seen at some older houses and banks and old roads and graveyards as well. Yeah, I think they're there. I mean, think about how many people have walked the earth just in our known history. Every step you take, someone has already taken a step there, right? There are probably people everywhere that walk the earth like that. Jeff Thompson saying, I wonder if extraterrestrial beams ever shoot skip through the galaxy on a strange frequency. I'm sure they do. I think the problem, Jeff, if we're going to go a little off topic for a second, as far as why we don't receive signals from other planets, is twofold. I think that we have invented terrestrial radio, we have invented AM, FM modulation, we have used that, and of course we built on it and built on it and built on it and built on it. And so we just assume, well, other species will communicate that way. But there's no reason that they would. I mean, it's the idea that we're going to build a 4-cylinder gas engine here on Earth, and somehow we expect that on every planet and every galaxy and every solar system that has life, that they're somehow going to stumble upon the 4-cylinder gasoline engine. When I would imagine if you were to give a guy the task of building an engine, and he had never seen an engine before, that it wouldn't look, sound, or feel anything like anything that we have right now. So I think that there's communication going on all around us all the time. It's just not communication that we are capable of understanding or receiving. There we go. Kevin, on top of the 2 stories I've told you, I have another stories about paranormal happenings. I'd be happy to share it with everyone. Right on, dude. Mike Cricket, good to see you in here. Boy, you've been putting out some cool videos lately. Sometimes spirits don't realize they are dead. Other times it's relatives coming to visit and guide you. Yes, I believe that. I believe both those. Somebody dies traumatically, they don't realize they're dead. They hang around the scene. They hang around. They're there, you know? I think that does happen. I think that violent deaths or tragic, sudden deaths are often, people are just confused. They exit their body, and I have a story that I can share about exiting the body. So I'm telling you that it's something that I experienced. So you exit the body, and maybe you don't realize that you're dead. Maybe it just happens so quickly you just can't come to terms with that. Relatives coming to visit? Yes. I feel there have been times in my life, dark moments or times when I was in trouble, that I've asked family, that has passed, grandparents and grandmothers, and, to help. And I feel like that's a thing. I feel like they helped. I feel like they stepped in. I'm led a blessed life, and I think some of that is due to what we might consider guardian angels. Think of it that way. Maybe these guardian angels are literally our own relatives, come to keep an eye on us, make sure we do. Make sure that we know it, and I appreciate the notice. 9mm AR man says, took me a second to think about that. Yeah, well, I know that it's unfortunate that sometimes I just go live, and obviously think about this, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. How many times you come home from work or get done with a long day and you're just like, dude, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just finished for the day. I want to go lay down. So it's tough. There are times when I set up a show back in the day when I would be like, oh, this coming Saturday, give everyone a whole week's notice. And then come Saturday, you've had a week from what, and you're like, I don't want to do this. I'm not in the mood to talk. So that happens. And then on the other spectrum, it's like, I have a great day and I come home, or I have a great day on the farm and I come inside and I'm like, bro, I feel like rambling, man. I feel like getting this out. I got something I want to talk about. Sometimes you hear something cool and you want to share it with folks, and so it is difficult. And I know there's guys and gals out there that do a way better job of running a radio show than I do, but I love the fact that I've got you all in here tonight, and I love the fact that we're able to have these conversations. I really appreciate it. Hey, Cricket, thanks to you, man. I've always tell everyone, I wish everyone would start their own channels. I wish everyone was uploading video, because this content is way better than anything you're going to find on pay TV. And yours is, man. I appreciate that. I'll watch it. Jamaica Dog saying there's an old house 4 miles from me. They can't sell and they can't even rent. Huh. No one that rents it spends a second night. Whoa. They speak of dishes flying off the counters and smashes against the wall. Man. That's like a possession. That's like what do they call poltergeist? Possession, poltergeist. Man, that's like demon stuff. I wouldn't want to be around it. There's obviously, well, I believe anyway, there's things that can affect you. There's things that can get inside of you if you let it. We talk about Ouija boards and how they can, they let bad things get to you. So, I don't want that stuff to get near me if I can help it. So I won't, if I see bad stuff like that. And it's one thing to see a ghost, kind of float past the room or wave to you or just, walk down the hallway. But something that's physically trying to get at you from the other side of wherever, that's something to certainly be worried about. And I don't blame them for that. That's crazy. Rose saying heart stopped and you were on monitors. Right on, dude. Yeah, that's similar to my story. Yeah. So that you probably have a moment where you might have stepped outside your body, right? 9mm AR man, don't worry if you have one of those days. Just think about my amazing personality, and suddenly you'll want to do your show. There you go. I mean, and it's funny. Speaking of that, just to get even more off topic here for a moment, and I think we've talked about it, in years gone by, maybe briefly, but I'm a really shy person in the real world. I'm kind of reserved, and I don't talk much. Well, I do. I guess I talk much now because my job, my in-town job requires me to. So I've started to become a chatterbox, I guess. But here on the farm, it's just me. I might talk to the critters, might talk to my wife, but other than that, I'm pretty much doing my thing. So to come on here, I get really nervous and apprehensive sometimes, and then the second the play button goes, boof, and it starts working. In fact, 741 and I had that conversation before I was on his show. I was a guest on his show, which I hope you all check out his channel as well. That he was, we were talking before we started, and both of us get a little nervous before we hit play, and then all of a sudden you hit play and it just kind of fades away. It's really weird. There you go. Noel, how you doing, man? Good evening to you as well. Good to have you in here, my friend. Tracy's saying out-of-body experience. Yeah. It's very common for people to pass away or have their heart stop momentarily to leave their bodies. That's halfway to wherever we're going next. That's what I'm thinking, right? 9mm man says just talks to his dogs. Yeah, I have cats and the farm critters, and I love talking to them. I love animals more than I love people, which is probably not a very nice thing to say, but it's true. An animal is an animal. It does what an animal does. Human has motives and can sometimes be unpredictable. I love the fact that an animal is nothing more than it presents itself to be. If it bites you, it doesn't do so because it was plotting and scheming against you. It bites you because it wanted to bite you. It's pretty cool. Mike Cricket saying, sage, holy water, cleanse the house. Every window, every door, sprinkle with holy water and pray as you go through the house. Burning sage also helps cleanse the home. I've heard the sage thing, yeah. Pretty cool, man. Al Martin III, good evening, man. Right on, dude. Well, we're here for at least another half hour, I think. Yeah, maybe 45 minutes. I'm actually going to go the full 2 hours, it looks like, because it's been a good conversation so far tonight. Super B saying, talking to his dogs too. Yeah, man, I think animals, and I wonder when we get to the other side of whatever this world is, if we don't see those animals again, the ones that pass, and we get to talk to them, and they're like, dude, you were all right. You're an all right guy. All right, Super B. All those conversations we had, yeah, I wish I could have talked back, and let you know everything was going to be all right. Calcius is saying, I'm not Catholic, but I went to Catholic school. We had a priest come to our school and give a talk, and he told some stories about demonic possessions of homes and the people he witnessed. I believe him. No doubt. No doubt. No, these things are real. You can easily let evil into your life. Just take a look around you. There's lots of evil people. Most of those people were not born evil. They allowed evil to possess them at some point or another. And it's possible to get rid of that evil. It's possible for people to change, but it's not easy. Jamaica Dog saying he would just burn that house down and be done with it. Right on. Yeah. I mean, if you have the money, right? It's just like, go for it. I would burn it down. I'll build somewhere else. I don't know. Think about Amityville. Of course, they made a movie based off of it. But if we're going to believe the story of the Amityville house, they literally walked away from it, lost their mortgage and everything, sold the house at a huge loss, got out quick. Some people say it was a financial issue and they just made the whole thing up. But hey, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. They were that spooked. They just left, man. They were done. So it happened. 9mm AR man says, I will always do what my dogs tell me to do. That's interesting. Hey, you know what dog is spelled backwards, right? Kevin says, animals can better sense your feelings. No doubt. Yeah, I've had days where I've, come home and been miserable. Something died, something went terribly wrong, felt depressed, and I'll tell you, the cats they can feel it, man. They come up and lay on your face, Cats that don't even normally pay you any mind to come over there and lay on your face and tell you they'll love you in their own way. Rose says, when I make movies, I end up sounding like Bill Murray in that movie Meatballs. That's a great movie. I'm trying to think of the line my old coworker used to say all the time. It doesn't matter. Oh gosh, Super B, been having an out of body experience or maybe a heart attack last 30 minutes watching this football game. Oh yeah, is it a good one? Oh gosh, Noel saying, I hope we can see our pets on the other side. I've had some great dogs in my life, and sometimes I prefer pets over people. Brother, a lot of times I prefer pets over people. A lot of times. If I had it my way, I would talk with y'all on the internet and maybe never see humans again except for my wife and my family, you know. No, I can't say that. I work with some great folks in town. I'm blessed right now. I'm not allowed to talk about it due to contractual agreements, but I've taken a position in town to help out, and I'm blessed. I work with some great folks, so they're good to be around. But I've certainly had jobs and certainly had run-ins with folks that I would prefer never to see again. All right, we have gotten so far off topic again, but that's all right. It's half the fun of the show, right? It's like always open line here on the Midnight Cafe with this YouTube version of it, because you're always reading the comments and always like, well, yeah, we could talk about that. Let me show you this one. It doesn't matter. That's what it is. It just doesn't matter. That's it. Oh, gosh. There we go. Check out this picture when it pops up on the screen on your end. This is a trail cam that snapped the photograph. And I want you to look at this. I believe this picture is genuine. I see no reason why they would fake it. I mean, certainly you could. But why would you? This is a guy who's got a setup. My cricket, I have got some awesome history on the property. Yes. First bit of bad news is somebody died in my house, but that happens. A lot of houses, you never realize somebody died in it. Unfortunately, somebody did pass away in this house, but that's not a problem. We don't have any issues there. But I have an artifact that I keep meaning to take a picture of to show y'all. Check it out. I have a prehistoric axe, the head of an axe that I found while digging in the garden. And I chipped it just a little bit with the machine, but you can see it is a shaped, formed axe made out of granite. It is incredible, and man, I'll definitely share it with y'all someday. I've got it sitting outside on the electric box out there. So, oh, look at this, Megan. How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Have you ever been on the Midnight Cafe show before? But I appreciate you coming in. That's awesome. She's the Mitsubishi Mirage. We got twins out there, right? So check it out. Take a look at this picture. This is a picture of this is taken from a trail cam. And, hunting season's coming up here, so for a lot of you probably have trail cams out in the woods right now, if you're into that sort of thing. And this guy, came over his trail cam footage. And if you had never looked at it, there's a whole bunch of trail cam pictures that are quite unusual. Some with lights, some with animals doing strange things. And this one, however, is one of two that I've seen that actually have a small girl in it, or at least it appears to be. It looks like a small girl in a long gown. Now, how many small people or how many young people wear gowns anymore to bed, right? We just wear, like what I'm in right now. You can't see me, but I'm in a t-shirt and I got, like sweatpants on, right? But in this particular instance, this looks like a young lady, and I think there were follow-up pictures, although I didn't take the time to download any of them for the show tonight. But so, what are we looking at here? Are we looking at a dimensional slip? Are we looking at a ghost from hundreds of years ago who is traveling a path that no longer exists? What do you think we're looking at? One guy, Rose, saying he thinks it just looks like a tree trunk. But I think it's very interesting. I think it's very frightening to think that the possibilities here are either paranormal or just normal but abnormal. Think about it. What if a poor little girl wandered away from her house? And there was another picture of a girl, same thing. They were like, holy cow, where's this girl out in the middle of the woods at like 3 o'clock in the morning? What's going on? But I'm saying it definitely happens. There's a photo of a guy who stumbled across a trail cam, and he went back and staged some pictures just to spook everybody. So, I mean, it's kind of comical in a sense, because in this case, it was like, okay, I'm doing this, and you're going to know that this is a fake, but you're going to be questioning reality, because you're like, why would somebody hike out here in the middle of the night just to take a funny picture, But, yeah, I kind of wonder about this. I feel like this one, sadly, I feel like this is a girl that wandered away from home. And I hope she's okay. What do y'all think of that one? Brian, good to see you in here, man. Brian. Yeah, we were next door neighbors in the second and third grade, man. Coleco Adam. Still jealous of the Coleco Adam. The Atari 2600 was paled in comparison. Megan saying creepy. Yeah, definitely, right? This is some weird stuff going on in this world, isn't it? Like every option you got here, unless it's just literally, like you said, a tree stump, but I doubt that. I mean, that looks like something. Doesn't look like an animal. Looks like a human. And is it a real human? Is it a ghost? What are we looking at? Is it a time slip? Is it, it's just amazing to me. Yeah. D-Man saying, got to keep it PG-13, please. Yeah, PG, not even 13, all right? I try to keep a G-rated channel on the other station, and although this one's not monetized, so we can have a little freer conversation, I try to keep it family-friendly all the time, my friends. Patrick, my dad, and I are always arrow hunting back in the day. Yeah, and you can find some really cool stuff, man, but this I don't think I ever came across an axe head. And it was like, I knew it was something. I pulled it out, we washed it off, we looked at it. I'm like, I know this is a hammer or an axe, And we looked it up, and it was a very common design of, we're talking prehistoric Indians. That's awesome. Quadrojet King chiming in. Hello, my friend. Rose saying, see the path. It's dark, then the trunk of it is reflecting the light. I don't know, man. I don't know. Why would the guy put this picture up? Like, obviously, if the trail camera was set up that way, then every picture would have had that same, shot in it. And he would have been like, it's a tree trunk. But what set it off then? Take a look at this. Now, I guess it could be a bird or a bat or a critter flew by and it's out of frame by the time the thing snaps. But I'm not saying you're wrong, Ro. I mean, it definitely is a possibility. It could just be natural. But then again, perhaps not, right? Kevin saying it looks kind of like a pic from my trail cam with a possible ghost. Kevin, I'd love it if you sent it to me. We could put it on the show when you come on. Anything you want to send to me, and that goes for all of y'all. Anybody who wants to send stuff to me to have to discuss on, on future episodes, I'd be happy to do that. It's your copyright, so it would be shown on the show and never put anywhere else. So that's for you to think about. Same thing with audio files, anything you want to send. Those of you who play instruments, want to put a song on, a free-to-air song, that as long as you don't have copyright on it, then it's free to air. I'd be happy to do it. Can't do covers. YouTube bans covers, so got to be careful with that too. But all this stuff also airs on, we're on like 5 radio stations now. It's pretty wild. I'm on 1670, which is the AM station I've been running for a million years. We're on 103.5, 103.1, 87.7. and 1600 AM. And then we're at least on my Shoutcast stream, and now we're on YouTube. But we're also a lot of other places too. We're like we're everywhere. I mean, it's just amazing, man. People are streaming the Shoutcast stream, and you're welcome to do that. It's all free to air. Go for it. Add your own shows to it. Add me to the mix. Whatever. Wild Bill, good to see you in here, brother. Hello. Brian Ben saying, yeah, Coleco. Yeah, your kids have no idea, right? Yeah, they're like, we're about 5 years away from virtual video gaming, virtual reality gaming. Back in the day, my friend, those were the best. Noel saying, what's the station in Michigan? 1600. 1600 in Michigan. And let's see, 87.7 is the one down outside of Raleigh. That's Rockin' Woody's got the that 15-watt station down there. And 103.1 is up here, somewhere in the mountains. You might catch that if you're driving around. And the other 103.5, I don't remember where that is, but it's a guy who emailed me, asked if you could get on the list. And I said, sure. Wasted Radio Network. You're welcome to join it anytime you want to. You don't even have to email me. You just rebroadcast it at will. There you go. Let's see here. D-Man, Florida. There's a bridge they call Candy Bridge, where a little girl got hit, and you can put a candy bar on there and walk away about 100 yards. You come back, and it's gone. Wow. Now, that is freaky. Definitely scary. Yikes. All right, dude. Okay, let's get on with it. Let's go on. I don't have a ton of picks tonight. This one gets me. Here we go. I've seen something similar to this. What are we looking at? It's not a great quality photo. It's probably a reprint of a reprint of a reprint. But I do remember about a decade ago. I mean, literally, this was right around the birth of the internet for me anyway. I was a late bloomer. I was still using BBSs up till 2000. But sometime around 2001 or 2002, I stumbled across this picture, and I attempted to find it tonight for the show, and this was the only version of it I could find. I believe the site is actually called Ghost Study that it used to be on, and I don't know if that's what that little writing down there at the bottom is, but Ghost Study still exists as far as I know. Although more and more it looks like some of those are faked pictures. This one does not appear to be fake. As I recall the story behind this, what we are looking at here is someone who had died in that room at that time, and it was over their head, maybe? No. That's not the story behind this one. That was another one very similar. But we're looking at a black entity of some kind. I mean, this is not cigarette smoke, right? This isn't cold air being breathed into a room. What is this? What are we looking at? I want to get your idea on this. So, for those of you not able to see it, for those of you listening on the radio, what we have here is a room. It's a black and white photograph. And it's a well lit room in the daytime, but in the center of the room is a black entity. It looks humanoid. It is clearly near the ceiling, and it has tentacles, like fog and black tentacles that are kind of spreading out from it. It's a very frightening picture. I got to tell you, it's something else. Let's see here. Roll saying it looks like maybe a dragon or a skeleton. Yeah. Jamaican Dog says it looks like his ex-wife during one of her temper tantrums. I am so sorry to hear that, brother. Although I feel your pain sometimes, you know. Quadrajet King says looks like the summoning of an evil spirit. You know, and I think it's funny, like, let's talk about that, Quadrajet King. We immediately think, okay, this is a dark mass. It must be evil. And that is something that I wonder in my own mind. Like, I can immediately look at this and I feel like it's evil. I feel like it's a sinister, bad thing because it's black. It's got this, you know, maybe it's the tentacles, but I think it's just the fact that it's this dark mass. And I wonder if people don't have that kind of like ingrained in their brains, like, you know, evil spirits or dark spirits or something like that. I don't know. Where a ghost is mostly white and we have an evil spirit might be black. I don't know. I mean, it could be completely you know, fake, or not fake, but completely incorrect, but it just feels that way to me. Rose saying, what are the words at the bottom of the picture? So in the picture, it does have some words. The first part of it is definitely ghost, but I can't read the end of it. Ghostshootmaybe.com. The site that I remember seeing this on back a long time ago was called ghoststudy.com, and I urge you all to check it out. It's very dated. They haven't updated, you know, it's not a modern website, which is fine with me. It would still work on dial-up. But it does have some really cool photographs on there, so definitely check that out. Bryband saying it looks like a floating demon to him. Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks evil. It definitely looks dangerous and scary to me. And so, again, what are we looking at? Is this an entity that has come from, you know, the depths of hell to come up and bother us, you know, to try to latch on to something? Is it a spirit? Quadrajet saying it looks like it was intentionally brought in from the underworld by witchcraft. And it's possible. You know, it looks as frightening to me as anything. So is this something that's come to attach itself or to attack someone? Is this something somebody has called upon? Or somebody who has let evil into their lives and it's there? You know, I wonder about that. Or are we looking at some kind of normal phenomenon that's just so rare we don't see it? Are we looking at a black hole appearing in a room momentarily? I mean, who knows? It's very interesting stuff to look at. I'm always fascinated by pictures like this because this one strikes, even though it's low res, it's low quality, it strikes me as a very real, you know, if it could be a photo smudge or whatever, but it doesn't look like it was faked in any way, shape, or form. Doesn't look like cigarette smoke. Doesn't look like cold breath. Doesn't look like dust. Yeah. Noel saying, doesn't look good to me. Looks like evil. It does. And isn't it interesting? We're all having the reaction that this thing looks evil. We don't know what it is, but we know our senses tell us that's bad. Stay away from that. That's not good. It's like seeing, you know, if you'd never seen a bear before and you saw a bear for the first time, you'd be like, oh, that's not good. I should definitely leave. Right? You know, there's certain things our bodies just know. It just react to it and they go, oh boy, that ain't good. So, yeah, very interesting. Mike Cricket saying, ghosts look like us. They appear like a transparency over our reality. Yeah, again, like, yeah, the ghosts more like the white. They kind of have facial features or body features that match ours. And he's saying, you're right, this looks like a demonic photograph. This thing here, it does have some humanoid features, but those tentacles and those arms and just the way it's floating through the air, and it almost does look like it has a bit of a tail to it, and it's twisted and deranged looking. It definitely seems scary to me, man. It definitely seems like it's up to no good. Megan's saying there's a belief that traumatic deaths trap spirits on this plane and prevents them from moving on, and thus can cause them to work in darkness, or work at darkness. Yeah. So, what do you think, Megan? Do you think that if a body, like let's say there's a car accident, I'm driving a 1980 Volkswagen pickup truck to work every day, and if I even get a love tap from another car, I'm going to die because there's no crumple zones, and the car is about the size of a tin can to begin with. So boom, I'm here 1 second, I'm gone the next. I'm so surprised I did not realize that I died, and so I'm stuck. I don't go to the light. Maybe I was supposed to go to the light, but I don't go. Do you think then that evil seeps into that spirit? Do you think that they become evil because they're stuck here on the earth for so long to wander aimlessly? Or do you think eventually they finally realize, what am I doing here? And then go, to the next place we're supposed to go? I'm curious about that myself, as I do think that a lot of people do get stuck behind because they're just so shocked at what happened, or perhaps they're in an accident and they die, but a loved one is injured and they feel like they must stay to help them. But then they're stuck in this reality, Well, Bill's saying it looks like ropes around the arms. Yeah, it could be, like around, holding them to the ceiling almost, yeah. Maybe it's the tentacles from the deep trying to hold them or bring them back, Megan's saying it thinks it depends on the person who died. Yeah, if you're a good soul, perhaps you stay good. If you were, maybe somewhere in between, you might slip either direction. That's definitely possible. Bri Ben says, I feel there are many other dimensions we just don't know about or have or don't have in this universe. Different dimensions, definitely. I think there are infinite universes with many different attributes and dimensions inside of them. I agree. I think we live in a multiverse. I think that every choice we've ever made and every choice we've ever not made was made in a different reality. And I think that goes for everything and every choice and every drop of rain that have come down. So I think there are that many, this infinite amount of universes. And occasionally we just get a little bit of a glitch. Perhaps that's what we're seeing here is a glitch. And perhaps in the glitch that we're seeing, well, we have flying, tailed, crazy looking things living in that world. Bryben says he feels the ghosts of this world have somehow slipped between universes and dimensions. Death may be a different dimension. I like to think that this is not the end. Depending on religions and all the rest, we'll put all those aside. I think this is practice for something else. I think there's definitely something on the other side of that doorway that I don't think we're supposed to rush the experience, that's for sure. Megan's saying what their spirit was here on the mortal plane. Yeah, are you a good person or a bad person might affect who you become on if you're stuck here on Earth. So if an evil man or woman dies suddenly and is stuck between heaven and hell, he's stuck here because he never went where he was supposed to go, that might still be an evil entity wandering the earth. He might be evil in death, as evil as he was in life. Very interesting and quite possibly explains why we have good ghosts and bad ghosts, poltergeists. Think of an angry murderer who gets stuck. Might explain the pots and pans flying and the dishes breaking in that house down in Florida, right? Super B says the MK1 Rabbit chassis actually has a very good front crumple zone. Just saying. Ask me how I know another time. Oh no. Man, Super B, I've been driving that thing. I put about maybe 1,000 miles on it, but I drove it every day this week, and that cab is so tiny, man, because it's the pickup truck version, but I love it. And people have been trying to buy it from me. Going through town the other day, some couple whipped out a cell phone, took a picture of it. I love it, man. That's a great little car. And I'm building that 1.8 liter. I just finished tearing it down. I got to edit the video tomorrow, but I tore that engine down and got all the parts. I'm going to take it, deep clean all those in the parts washer, and I've got a whole engine rebuild. Not a rebuild, a refresh kit. Rings, bearings, all that stuff, and all new gasket sets. So I'm going to be doing that. That's my winter project. I'm going to put that in with a 5-speed, and it'll be awesome. Quadrajet saying stuck in purgatory. Yeah, definitely could be, right? This could be an angry spirit because he can't go anywhere. This is the rest of his life. Super B's also chiming in, this could be a glitch in our matrix. Yeah, if we are not living in a real world, if this is all a simulation, this could very easily be a glitch. And honestly, that's probably one of the easiest explanations for everything that goes on in our lives. When we see things like this, or we see UFOs, or we hear voices, or also the whole Mandela effect, that glitch in the matrix. We do remember it differently because we experienced it differently, but they changed the program on us. So I think that's pretty cool. Megan's saying, however, I think that they can change over time and spirits experiences which are different than what we experience in life. Interesting. Rose says it looks like a skeleton over a layered on a bright scene. The vapors are strings airbrushed to look like vapors. Yeah, okay, so Ro, on this one, like this blurred out picture that y'all are looking at here is a really bad it's like a really bad copy. It's a copy of a copy of a copy kind of thing. But the original, those tentacles, those weren't strings. They were like multiple threads, like a frayed thread that kind of dissipated into the ceiling, and it's a doozy. Might be Gozer the Destroyer. There you go, right? Al Martin, perception is very influenced by upbringing. Some Native Americans can take you to places that seem serene and beautiful and know it is an evil place. The same with a desolate location and feel at peace. Interesting. So they just have a sense of it, huh? Wild Bill says, I've always believed that if you are bad in the past, your family will be cursed. Maybe that's why some people just have bad luck in their lives. So that evil, we have to pay it forward. So if I'm bad, my family gets to suffer after the fact. I hope that's not the case, but it certainly could be. We pass down all kinds of genetic, traits. What if we pass down something terrible like that, right? Yeah. Super B says Tectonics Tuning has that Eurocam. Oh, I'll definitely have to check it out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to redo it. The engine I was rebuilding, I wasn't sure if it was a hydro head or a mechanical head. It is mechanical, so I'm gonna, it's got I'm gonna have to get a cam for it because I wasn't gonna do it if it was a hydro head, but yeah, I want to get a little bit extra power, not tons, but just a little bit, and so that'll be fun to play with. Yeah, I'm gonna order some parts here for it this week. 9mm AR man, what you're saying right there. So he's saying maybe we are all in purgatory right now. AR man, have hypothesized that exact same thing. I believe that Earth is purgatory, that it's the proving grounds, that we are all here to prove whether we are worthy to go up or down, and yeah, that's what we make of it. That is the meaning of life. It's literally a big long test, and we're all in it together. So I find that to be very similar to the way I feel. Calcia says, if that picture isn't real, then whoever took it is a good artist. Definitely looks evil and scary to me. Yeah, I'd say that's one of the, to me, that's one of the most believable pictures out there. Super B says, let me know. I'd love to come up and help with the build. Man, I might give you a call on that. It's just fun stuff. Simple 4-cylinders, not anything like, not anything like modern cars. Good. Which is a good thing. I took that thing apart and I was like, wow, yeah, I forgot how simple this is compared to, a white block Volvo 6-cylinder twin turbo, and you're like, 20,000 nuts and bolts later. Pro says, did you know that you can CGI in black and white and make it look aged well? Yeah, certainly, but remember now, this picture sure came out in 2002 or 2003. So I don't know. I mean, again, technology could have been there, but it would have been harder to do it. Mike Crick is saying, thanks to the McKinley SSB range test, by the way, we all have a lesson to learn. Every life we learn more and more. I agree with that as well. Okay, so one more picture here. And that's going to be it. This one here, I'm on the fence. What do y'all think you see here? This is the person, obviously, this was a video. And the person obviously felt like they had caught something. You could take a look at this and you could say there's definitely a bright entity lighting up, the forest around it. And it almost has a little bit of a facial feature to it. But it's also entirely possible that what we're seeing is some very strange reflection off of a small tree. I wasn't sure what to make of this one, but I did want to put it up there because, this is the thing. Like, again, I feel like whoever took this uploaded it and wanted people to observe this photograph because they honestly didn't know what they had. I don't think they purposely uploaded something that was a reflection of a tree, and I don't think that this is faked. And it's definitely a VHS or 8mm type camera video still frame, because you can see just the resolution of it. But it's an interesting photograph. It could be an entity, could be an alien, could be some interdimensional being, or it could just be a tree. I mean, it's pretty weird, but I did like it. I did feel like adding it to the list tonight. So, Brad Ben saying he thinks it's pretty creepy looking. Mike Cricket saying it's Gandalf the White from Lord of the Rings. There you go. Entirely possible. I mean, probably not, but could be. So anyway, Rose says there is a spotlight on a trunk. I've done that. Super spite. Yeah. There's a lot of money to be made on ghosts. You pay to watch a movie old enough for all the actors to be dead, for example. Robert, I think you just won the day. I think you just won the internet. Robert's saying there's a lot of money to be made on ghosts. If you pay to watch a movie old enough for all the actors to be dead, you have just paid for ghosts. That's very true, man. Very true. We all live on somehow, I guess, right? Wild Bill says it looks like fire. Yeah, that could be a campfire. Maybe somebody poured a bunch of gas or kerosene on it or something. Who knows? But it does. It looks like a flaming being almost. It's pretty amazing. Anyway, that's it. That's the last picture. I just wanted to share that with you. And yeah, we've gone about an hour and 45 minutes. I'm going to wrap this thing up fairly shortly. Go ahead and close that out. There it is. Episode 5 of Season 3 of the Midnight Cafe with your host Eric, a.k.a. Mad Dog. Old Mad Dog, still at it. Could be a porthole, Kevin says. Yeah, dude. Yeah. And that definitely rings a bell. And so if you walk through that, you might find yourself in a parallel dimension or another time. We've heard of time slips. We've talked about it on the show. Time slips. We've heard of people who have jumped parallel into other universes where, they land and they, hey, I'm from Illyria. And they're like, there is no such thing, Illyria. Well, there is where this dude came from, right? So that's entirely possible. Megan's saying she's not going to sleep well tonight, huh? I'm sorry about that. That's the whole fun of the Midnight Cafe. Scared without being truly scared, hopefully, right? Just a good conversation, things to think about. Maybe just leave the lights on for a little longer than you normally would, right? Mike Cricket saying, thank you, saved and shared, great content. Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate that. Please, all of you, spread the word about the Midnight Cafe. Plenty of back episodes. They're all unlocked right now. Shoutcast plays a lot of material plus the Midnight Cafe. Now WFPF Radio will be playing the same feed, so if you're in the car and you want to listen to it and the old Shoutcast feed wasn't working, well, yeah, you can catch up on back episodes that way. Please let people know about this show. It was so popular 20 years ago, and it was so popular 10 years ago. And unfortunately, the world's a crazy place, and I just don't have the time to dedicate to it like I used to, but I still love coming on here and talking with y'all. Love talking about the paranormal and the mysteries and all the rest. So next week, let's do it. Kevin, let's get together. I'll have you, we'll get in touch. We'll talk over this week, get you on for a show. We'll do the same thing Saturday, 6:30 p.m., if at all possible. If we have to do it Sunday, then we'll do it Sunday, but we'll try to do that. And the week after that, which is the week before Thanksgiving, I believe. Let me take a look at my calendar, make sure I've got this right. Yeah, on the 24th, kind of a funky special show. We're going to do something fun. On the 24th, I'm going to try real hard to get my wife involved. If not, I would love for y'all to call in. We're going to talk about horror movies, scary movies, just in time for Halloween. We'll talk about some of the great scary movies that are out there, old and new. We can go all the way back to the Hammer horror and Universal horror movies, or some great independent giant bug movies like Them, stuff like that. So think of your great scary movies and get ready, and we'll share some of that, and we'll have a great conversation. Good night, everybody. I hope everyone has a great time. Looking forward to next week. AR Man says, Megan saying having a good night. Kevin says, I'm going to sleep just fine. Wait, what was that noise? Exactly, man. Wild Bill finally, he's glad he got to come in live. I'm glad you were here, man. I'm glad you were here. Super B, Mike Cricket, everybody. I'm not going to go through everybody. Robert Clark, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you for being a part of the show. And thank you for joining me at the Midnight Cafe. Quadrojet King, take care of yourself, brother. All of you. Calcius, always good to have you in here, man. You always seem to miss the Farpoint Farm Show. I'm glad you're able to make these, man. That's awesome. Scooters55, good to see you. Mower Junkie, good to see you again. Jamaican Dog, everybody giving thumbs up. Check out everybody. Just something. This is how I'm gonna leave you on, right? Look, man. Everybody here has the capability to make videos if you haven't already. You know, some of y'all, Mower Junkie, and I mean, some of y'all have some great stuff. Some great stuff. Go check out everybody's channels. Take a look at some of the names. Write them down. Go check out their channels. Some of these guys and gals got great content. Go check it out. Become a fan of their work. Become a fan of everybody's work, because I am. And start your own stuff. If you don't have a channel and you feel like you got nothing to talk about, guess what? I'm sure you do. Talk about whatever your passion is. And if you don't have a passion, well, time's wasting, my friends. Find one. I'm going to leave you with that thought. Thank you again for another great episode of the Midnight Cafe. And I'll see you next time. Take care.